Welcome everyone to Farm Manager 2018. Now this is a different take on farming than what we've been doing on the channel so far. So instead of doing everything ourselves, we'll be hiring workers, purchasing equipment, and so on in order to take care of this. This is more of a strategy type game with tycoon elements in there. So we'll be focusing on making money and expanding our farm. So we've got several different options on how to play. We've got a campaign mode, several scenarios that are available, and then the mode that we will actually be using, which is the free mode. But before we get into that, let's first take a look at the settings. Now everything is very minimalist in this game. We're not going to have a whole lot of options, and you can see here on this screen we only have one option for graphics quality. You can go anywhere from low to very high, or even some custom values there if you decide. So very minimalist there. Audio, again, same thing. You've got a master volume. I've turned the music all the way off, and then you have special effects volume. Okay, then under gameplay, again, some very basic options. You choose the language that you're interested in, choose your temperature scale, which also affects the date appearance, whether you want month, day, year, or simply day, month, year. Okay, that's determined by your temperature scale. You've got an auto save function here. You can turn that off or all the way up to hour increments, and then some different options for scrolling and using the mouse. Okay, so again, very minimalist options. Let's go ahead into free mode, and we can name our farm. We're just going to go with a very basic name. Now there is a terrain seed, but I have to admit I haven't seen this really do a whole lot of anything in the game. Essentially, what we're going to find is you have a very basic map structure where there is a main road running through, and you'll have property on both sides of that road. About the only thing I've seen this do is where the water falls along the map. So sometimes you might be spawned in right on the edge of a creek or a river or something like that, which sort of divides out your land. But other than that, I haven't seen this do a whole lot. So we'll find out more about what we get in this particular terrain seed. Now difficulty, we're going to leave it at medium, and cash, we're just going to go ahead and leave this at 750,000 just to give us a little bit of money to play around with here at the beginning. All right, so we're going to go ahead and apply that, and let's get into the game. All right, here we are inside our map, and of course you can see the dotted lines here, which denote the area that we currently own, divided by the main road that runs down through the center. We can zoom in and out. We can zoom all the way into the ground. We can tilt and move around the camera. See, we've got some trees already on the land that we'll need to clear out if we're going to build in that particular area. But you can see, for the most part, the land is pretty flat. You can see a city off in the distance there. There is a river off to one side. I have seen those sort of spawn in. Let's see if we get back to more of a normal top-down view here. I have seen those rivers spawn in sort of and sort of cut our land in half a little bit. But that's about it. And that's every seed that I have spawned in has basically been the same. The number of trees varies a little bit, but for the most part, you've got this same basic area that we're going to be using. So I've paused the game just to give us an idea and a chance to look around and see what we've got. So starting up in the top left-hand corner, this is really what the tutorial would have done for us. We've got the amount of money that we currently have. We've got our workers as well as the number of idle workers. We have the ability to add various different things to our screen that we want to keep closer track of at a quick glance. Then we've got our time scale, the actual date in month, day, year format, our temperature and format, and then we've got the seasons that will scroll across. You can see we're just coming out of winter and beginning spring, so this wheel will actually continue to spin, and we'll work our way through spring, summer, and so on. Down the right hand side of the screen, we are going to have the different things that the game wants us to do, some of which we'll be doing, some of which we will not be doing, because it will have various random events that it wants us to do, such as a bet with a local neighbor that we can plant more of these or harvest more of these than they can. So just different things like that. It tries to keep the game moving for you if you're looking for something to do. All of those will be along the right-hand side of the screen. Then we get to the bottom right-hand side, and then we've got a photo mode, and this would be used to take screenshots and get rid of the HUD that you see on the screen. We've got a mini map that we can show on the screen, which really isn't necessary currently because this is the only area we've got, so it's very easy to keep track of it. Now, as we begin to expand, that's a different story. We may need that mini map. And then you've got the settings menu that we just took a quick look at here at the beginning of the video. Now, the most important things that we're going to be dealing with is the HUD in the bottom of the screen, toward the bottom left. First of all, we've got the field where we can simply click on that and decide what type and size of field we want. Now, right now we are limited to a 50 by 50 meter field. As we continue to upgrade, that can be expanded to much larger fields. Then we've got our roads. We've got dirt roads and paved roads, which will help in the speed at which our workers will be able to move. You can see they're 50% faster and 80% faster. So the workers will be looking for the fastest way to get from point A to point B. And then the buildings and decoration. This is where we'll spend most of our time. We've got the animal buildings, then we've got houses, garages, production buildings, which would include factories and things like that. And we've got our warehouses, and then miscellaneous other types of buildings, which we'll be using for sure. Then we can take a look at workers. Right now it's telling us we don't have a worker building, which is exactly right. We haven't built one yet. And then we can take a look at the money on our particular farm. Also, it's telling us we don't have an owner's building. The owner's building in this game serves only one purpose. The workers do not engage with the building and interact with it at all. Only we will do that to do things such as training, upgrades, and so on. Okay, then we've got basic machines that we can purchase to do the work. Now in this game, it's a little bit different because you can actually have the workers work the fields manually. You can have them use manual tools to work the field on their own, or you can purchase machines, tractors and implements and so on, so that they can do the work even quicker. But of course, that's going to cost more money. We have our market, which will enable us to buy and sell any goods that we might need to. There's also options to, of course, right now you see we don't have anything to sell, but there's options to auto sell any items that you are producing on a regular basis. So we'll definitely get into that. Okay, then we've got our warehouse storage. Again, right now we don't have any. And then there is the demolish button so that we can remove any items that we might decide that we don't need anymore. All right, so with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. Now, I'm going to tell you right up front, I am not going to have the greatest layout in the world, so we're basically just going to get started, and we're going to have some fun with this game. Okay, we're going to start with the houses. We're going to need a couple of these at least to get going. We're going to need the farm owner's house, and we're going to need the housing for permanent employees, and you can see, of course, the cost associated with those. Okay, now again, the workers will not be interacting with this particular house. Now, my first thought is to put it right in the center. And I'll tell you what, let's just go ahead and do that. Let's put it right in the center here at the top. Okay, let's go ahead and unpause the game so at least things can start going by a little bit quicker. Now, there is no day-night cycle in the game, and that's basically because you don't need one. The days go by pretty quickly here, and it would get almost like a strobe effect if you had a day-night cycle in the game. So if you watch in the top right-hand corner, you can see that the days will start to go by quicker, particularly once we start to get into the fast-forward mode, which is where we're likely going to spend most of our time. Okay, so now I am going to add in a road, and we're going to make it a paved road, and let's put it pretty close to the center. Some of the things can be hard to line up exactly center, but we're going to go ahead and put that as the center, and then I'm going to go ahead and let's see if it's going to let me do that. Nope, it's not going to let me quite do that. Okay, and I want a road, because we're going to use the house here as sort of the central hub on the farm. Again, you can see everything doesn't quite line up just perfectly, so we're not going to worry too much about that. Okay, so we've got that going, and we're going to come back in, get the permanent housing. All right, I'm going to use the R key to rotate around, and we're going to do, let's move up a little bit closer. There we go. Okay, and let's see what we get. Again, this is not going to all line up perfectly, and that is just fine with me. All right, now I'm going to run in both directions to give us some sort of structure to begin. All right, now we need to decide what type of services and products are we going to get involved in. So let's take a quick look. You can see the truck here is delivering the materials to begin with the building. And right now we're on normal speed. You can see nothing happens very fast on normal speed. So we're definitely going to want to get into the fast forward as soon as possible. So where do we want to get started? Well, there are a lot of different options. If we want to get into animals, we can deal with cows. And there are options. You can see we got small, medium, and large options for all of these that we're going to be looking at. But they have to be opened up via training and research. So we'll have to take a look at that, but that is quite a lengthy process. We can see the cost of the cow shed is $10,000. Then we've got a pigsty, $12,000, and then a small shed that we can use either for goats or sheep at $18,000. Okay, there we go. Our farmhouse is done. Let's take a quick look. Zoom in a little bit and see what we've got going. Wow, that is quite a nice house for a starter farm with a lot of decoration around it, that's for sure. Okay, then we've got the housing for our permanent workers, or at least some of them. That is, looks like they're going to be delivering materials for that here very shortly. So we started out, we got cows, we've got pigs, and then we've got goats and sheep. We've also got chickens, and then we've got the ability to get into beekeeping, which is, I can tell you, very lucrative. And then we've got rabbits as well. So let's go ahead and start out with some bees. They are very, very cheap and simple to get going with. And you can see, take up a very small area on the map. So let's go ahead and plop these down. All right, let's speed up time a little bit. Okay, there is our worker housing is done. And if we come in and see, we've got a spot for 8 permanent workers. Okay, it looks like we've got our first offer that pops up from the labor office. Hire an employee before 7/26, and we're going to get some money. So you see that shows up on the right hand side of the screen. We're actually about to do that anyway because we're going to need a beekeeper. So let's go ahead and look into hiring. Now we've got a bunch of options. We're not going to worry about those right now, but we've got several options of who to hire. So we'll start by taking a look at some of the basics about what these do and what we're going to be looking at when we choose who we're going to hire. So of course you've got the amount of money that is going to be paid to the worker. That's the first column. But then you've got different options. Okay, if you see the arm here, that is going to tell you the strength. That's going to tell you how long the worker can go out of 5, from 0 to 5, how long they can go before they need to head back to their home and rest. So the higher this number is, the longer they can work. All right, then we've got orchards, 0 to 5. And so that means they would be a better orchard worker. Then we get into our beekeeper. So this is going to affect the amount of honey that they would be able to collect. So 3 out of 5, not bad at all. So let's scroll down through. Ooh, there's a 5 out of 5. This is who we want. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and hire them. And we've completed their task of hiring a worker. Okay, so that gives us a reward of 1,000. Even though the symbol there isn't quite right. All right, let's go ahead and fast forward a little bit so that we can get things going. So now we've got one worker here in the home, and we need our beekeeper hut up and going. There we go. So let's go ahead and see if we can scroll in a little bit here and see our, wow, come on game. There we go. So there's our beekeeper hut. Now we're going to need some hives for this guy to tend to. So what we're going to do is, oops, wrong menu. We need to come back out. You can see it's room for 10 hives on this particular hut, and each of them is going to cost us 300. So we're going to go ahead and purchase these, and what we're going to do is try to keep them as close as possible. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I'm just going to scoot over and keep all of these as close as I can. There we go. So I was holding down shift the whole time so I wouldn't have to continue to place a hive, go back in the menu, and purchase another one, and so on. Now we need to put down a caregiver. So this would be where, now we could use autofill, but let's go ahead and choose. And this would be a list of all of our available workers. This is the one we want. So now he will come over to the hives and he will begin working. Now as he collects the honey, there you can see he's on his way now. As he collects the honey, it will be stored in the small warehouse or a small building there, or room within the building. Okay, so we're going to have, what we're going to do is we're going to fill up this row with beekeeping, but we're going to need somewhere to store all of this stuff. And for that, we're going to need to come in under warehouses. And we've got a couple of different types of warehouses that we're going to be using primarily. First and foremost is this small warehouse, which is used for a lot of stuff, quite frankly. You can see there seeds, plants, fruits and vegetables, dairy, etc. A lot of things are going to be in there. Then once we get into the hay and the grass, that will be stored there for the animals in the barn. So let's go ahead and set up a small warehouse. And let's see, how do we want to do this? Let's once again, all right, let's go ahead and put this. This is definitely not going to be perfect. Yeah, that's as close as I can get that. You can see it takes out a couple of trees. Now we've got our beekeeper hard at work. Let's put down a few more of these. All right, we're going to go ahead and put it down as close as we can to optimize our space. There we go. Once again, we're going to speed up time a little bit so we can get our storage building done, as well as the new beekeeper's hut. And while we're looking at it, let's go ahead and hire another employee. There's a 3 out of 5 for the bees. Let's look and see if we can find, oh, there's a 5 out of 5. Not bad. Quite expensive though. Let's see, there's a 4 out of 5. Again, fairly expensive. We're not going to worry a whole lot about this, but I did want to point out that those are the things you're looking for. There we go, 5 out of 5, and pretty cheap. Okay, now we've got an opportunity. Let's see if there's anything. Okay, not yet. It's going to take a few days for all this to get going, but now we've got our storage building ready, and this is where the honey can be stored once it is collected. So now we're going to go ahead and choose our new worker that we just hired. She's going to be responsible for this set of hives, which we need to place down now. So again, I'm going to hold down shift, and we're going to place all 10 of these. There we go. So now we've got 2 of these already set and going. And my plan is to sort of segment things and divide out our farm. And of course, remember, we've got this portion down here on the bottom that we're not using just yet. But before we get too much further down the line, I want to go ahead and click on our owner home. And you can see we have got a lot of training. Now, I have to be careful with this because it drives you nuts with this available training after competition. And yeah, we don't want that right now because there are a lot of options, and it drives you nuts as it continues to open all that up, as you can see. So what we want to do right now is we take a look at the duration time, which is on the right-hand side. There, some of these take quite a while. And there's a full year for that one. What I want is, let's see if I can find it. There it is. The use of renewable energy sources only takes 7 days and only costs us $2,200. This will open up one of the best money makers I can imagine in the game. And now we can see in the top of the screen, it says we got 7 days left on this one. And what it's going to do for us is it's going to open up the wind turbine. So for $60,000, we can get the wind turbine, which will give us basically free money, and it will pay for itself rather quickly in game time. And we're going to be using it so that we can have a nice steady stream of income outside of the other activities that we're going to be doing. All right, so we've got a couple of beehives up and going right now. Let's go ahead and fill out the rest of this particular area with beehives. I'm going to have a total of 5 of these right quick. Let's go ahead and fast forward. No honey in there just yet. Once we get a flow of honey started, it will be flowing on a regular basis, and then we'll be able to set up an auto sell function. Okay, there you see trucks coming by that are going to let us get started with the beekeeping. Okay, high demand for geese right now. We don't really care about that. There we go. I'll click OK just to get it out of the way. That'll put it over here to the side, but we'll definitely not be messing with that. Okay, let's go ahead and place the hives first, then we'll get someone hired for the job. Okay, let's come back over to our housing and let's find out who we want to hire of the available options. Let's see, wow. Okay, there's a 2 of 5 and 1 of 5 there. Okay, so not very many options at all. Let's just go ahead with, I think I'm going to go with the 1 of 5. Yeah, a little bit cheaper. Again, it's not going to make all that much difference. We should have plenty of money flowing in as we get things set up, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. But again, I do want to show you guys how the process works. Now, in the beehives, if we go back to our first one, you have room for 10 hives, and then there are certain flowers, if they're located nearby, will actually allow a different type of honey to be formed. For now, we're just getting various flowers, honey from various types of different flowers, because I have not yet come in contact with these. I assume they're on some maps or some places on the maps, because I've not seen them in any of the options. Who knows, maybe I've missed something, but so far I have not seen those on the map, so they've always been grayed out for me. And as we take a look around the map, I don't see anything really but trees, maybe some small bushes here and there so far. So who knows, maybe if we continue to expand, we'll end up running into some of those. But for now, I have not seen it. All right, so we got 4 days left. Let's see, let's go ahead and put down a couple more. Because while I'm thinking about it, let's go ahead and do, there we go. And then we'll fast forward a little bit, let these guys get in here and get that built for us. And in the meantime, let's go ahead and look for somebody to hire. Okay, there we go, 3 out of 5. For beekeeping, there's a 4 out of 5, not bad. Only $6.98. You can also train these, so it's not the end of the world if you get somebody who is not. All right, so 426, that's actually not bad. The 0 out of 5 isn't great. Let's go ahead and get this 4 out of 5. Okay, let's choose our caregiver, and then let's go put down those hives. All right, come on, there we go. So we're going to put down 10 on each one of these. No real reason as far as I know not to, because they don't cost very much, so it doesn't take a whole lot of money to go ahead and do that. So you can get about $5,000 will get you up and running with the beekeeping. Okay, so now that means we are ready to go with another one. So we'll be looking to diversify. We're starting out with the bees, but that's certainly not going to be, we're not going to have beekeeping all over the place here, although it wouldn't be bad for money purposes. We're not going to have beekeeping everywhere. We've got 2 days left now, 1 day left with our research. Okay, here they come to work on the beekeeping. Oh, there we go. Now we can use renewable resources. We're going to continue to fast forward until we get through this last hut. Okay, so we don't have anybody available right now in order to put in here, so we're just going to go ahead and get these hives set up. And then we'll look at hiring somebody. Okay, come back in. So we're half full on our housing right now. Let's see who else we can find. 3 out of 5. I tell you what, we're just going to go straight for this. This is pretty good. 464, 3 out of 5, not bad. We're just going to speed things up. We're going to go ahead and take that person. There we go. And then we got one more. That we're going to be able to put on this row. All right, so while we wait for that, so now we have opened up the option for our wind turbine. So this is going to provide us with energy that we can sell back to the power plant. So this is going to be making us money constantly. So what I'm going to actually do with them is I'm going to put those along a row in the back. Okay, I'll tell you what, I did not hit shift that time. I'll go ahead and hit it this time and see if we can't put a few more of these again, just to get us started with some nice income. Okay, that'll get us 5. All right, so we've got still no honey in here. Have they not? I mean, granted, we haven't been going for very long as far as number of game days. All right, here they come to build our wind turbines, and they're finishing up on, there we go. Now we need to come in and let's go ahead and get our hives placed down. Get that taken care of. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is go ahead and put a road that's going to run all the way up and along here. So as we continue to expand out in the different directions, we'll have some sort of road system along the way. All right, so now we have almost everything we need because we need one more beekeeper. Let's see who we've got available. All right, there's a 3 out of 5. Let's go ahead and take them. There we go. Now we have all of our beekeepers ready to go, all 6 of them, and they'll be placing the honey in the warehouse to be sold. Now, this brings us to one thing I can't quite figure out, and that is why we have workers running around on the main road. Now, my guess is that their pathfinding tells them to always go for the quickest speed they have, which of course would be the paved road. However, this is well out of the way. I'm not sure why you'd want to come all the way down here and do it that way. And then of course there's the safety factor of getting run over by all of the traffic coming by. But regardless, that's kind of just is where we are right now. All right, so the question becomes, where do we want to go from here? Obviously we can continue, and my plan is to go ahead and put more and more of these out here in a row. Probably will do the same thing along the back edge here. Again, just to keep that money flowing in, because they make quite a bit of money. How much money? Well, it differs, but if you click on one of them, you can see it's going to tell you these have been in place for what, maybe a day in game time. So it's making you money already. I've seen these make, over the course of a full month, I've seen these make anywhere from, let's click on the first one we put down. As you can see, almost $640 so far. But I've seen these make anywhere from about $6,500 each in a month to over $11,000 each in a month. I'm not sure why it changes like that. Maybe it has to do with how often it storms and rains, and that makes more money. I'm not sure. But it does tend to vary. But at any rate, you're going to make some really good money with those, and you don't have to do anything with them. So that is a great opportunity to make some money. Same thing with the beehives. Now that we've got them set, we don't really have to do anything to them. The workers are going to take care of getting the honey for us. Still waiting for that first honey to be created. Takes it a little while, but then we'll have a nice steady supply. But we don't have to do anything with those either. So if we look into what we'll be getting into more in our next video, is we're going to take a look back in and we're going to be going into the cows. Now, even a small cow shed, if I click on it, you can see it's not very small. It takes up a lot of room, but it can make us a nice amount of money as well. And then, of course, we've got, if I come back in, we have greenhouses, which are very nice to have. And we will be able to work those just the same as we would work the fields. Okay, so a lot of options to get us started. But for right now, I'm focusing more on the animals. We're getting a nice income stream set up between the bees and the wind turbines. So that is a very nice baseline for us. And then we'll be jumping into all sorts of other things and eventually doing some field work. But I can tell you the field work to me just isn't all that great because it takes a ton of time, a lot of labor and or equipment to do, and it just doesn't seem to me as nice to do as some of these other activities that we're going to get started off with. All right, let's go ahead and place down. Let's see, let's go ahead and put let's go ahead and put down our road. So I can make sure I have room for it. We'll get it up at least that far. Now we'll come back in under our animals. We'll put up our first cow shed, and we're going to put it a little bit closer to this road running through as opposed to the main road. There we go. You can see the trees going out of the way. It's still really cool. It's only 45 degrees, so it is a very, very cool spring, kind of what we're having like right now in real life. It is cool. I got the heat going behind me so that my hands and feet don't freeze off while I'm recording. All right, there you see, once again, we are, not only are we on the road to get to where we want to be, but we're running right down the middle of the road. Which brings me to another thing. You can click on these workers, but unfortunately you can't click on the icon there. You would have to get right on top of them. See, it is very difficult to get him. There we go, we finally got him. And it tells you where he's going and what his skill set is. Okay, so let's go ahead and, let's see, we need a few other things in order to work with the cows. But first, I need to take a quick look. Do we have enough room? Ooh, we just barely do. Okay, so we're not going to be doing that because we need to leave a little bit of room. There is an issue if you put everything right next to each other, even though it shows in the green, sometimes it will give you an error message and say there is no way in or out of an area, even though we've clearly see that you've got plenty of room. So we're not even going to take any chances with that. So let's go ahead and we're going to set down a manure storage. And we're going to set it, we're going to give a little bit of room there. Going to set it down. And then along the same lines, we're going to go under production here, and we're going to get the silage. Because the silage is really going to help us out in feeding the cows. All right, let's speed things up. So we can see this cow barn being built, as well as the manure and the silage storage. Now the silage is considered a production building, so we will actually have to have a worker dedicated to it in order to produce the silage, and that's why you see the worker icon right next to it. Okay, in order to do that, we have room for 2 more workers. One of those is going to be in the cow barn, the other one will be for the silage. Let's go ahead, and even though we're not going to need the silage guy just yet, let's go ahead and let's see what we've got. There's a 1 out of 5 on, you can see the animal icon there. Let's see what else we've got for the animals. 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5. Ooh, there's a really good worker. 5 out of 5 on the strength and endurance. Very nice. Oh, there we go, 5 out of 5. We're going to go ahead and hire this guy. Let's fast forward a little bit more. Get this cow shed done. And then we're also going to need to build a barn. There we go. All right, here comes one of those bets with the neighbors about cows. Right on schedule, but again, we're not going to worry a whole lot about that. All right, so we're ready now to purchase some cows, but I don't want to quite do that just yet because we don't have any food for them. We're going to need a barn for that. So let's go ahead and, under storage, let's grab our barn. And let's see, you can see it is huge. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put it right down here on the end. That'll give us room for another cow barn up here for the time being. Okay, let's get somebody for our silage. And we have room for 1 more worker in this particular house. So let's see what we've got. I really don't know that it matters who I put in here. I'm not sure if the production means anything. Let's see if I can find somebody with the production. Yeah, there we go. Like the factory manufacturing type of skill. I'm not sure that that matters for this. So what I'm going to get is I'm just going to try to find somebody who is on the cheaper side. Actually, this one may be it. 461. Kind of looking at the skills they have as well. Yeah, for now, I guess we're just going to go with this person. We're going to put them in the silage. Okay, we're going to get them something to work on here as soon as we can. As soon as they get our barn built. So this will give us somewhere to store the manure. We can use the manure in the greenhouses, and of course, as well as use it in the open fields. Okay, once we get our barn built, then we can, tell you what, do we have honey? Still no honey? Wow, these guys are taking forever to get going with this honey. Okay, let's get done with our barn. So now you can get an idea of the limited amount of space. I mean, it didn't take us long. Beekeeping didn't take up very much space, but once you get into these cow barns and the different storages, you really start to get rid of space very quickly. All right, so now we've got a barn. We can go ahead and going to want to start out by purchasing some grass. And the great thing about grass is that in general, wow, look at this pricing. It is extremely cheap. So we're going to go ahead and just purchase, let's purchase about 400 here, because something great is going to happen with the grass whenever we turn it into silage. So it's only going to cost us 122. So very, very little cost involved there. Let's buy that. And now if we click on the barn, you can say it's got 400 kilograms, and they are in delivery. And as far as I know, there is no way to get this out of kilograms into pounds. But again, not a big deal to me. So we're still in delivery, and here it comes. There we go. And now below it, you can see the expiration date, which will be 2/16 of 2019. So we've got plenty of time before that grass goes bad. So now what we need to do is we need to come into our silage, and we've got the production of silage. We can use grass, crops, or straw. We're going to use grass, and we're going to move this all the way to 100%, and I'm going to tell him to create an infinite amount. Basically, anytime there is grass available in storage, I want him to get it and turn it into silage, at least for now. Okay, so there's grass in storage, so he will come out eventually. We're going to get him out. I'm not sure why. It always takes a little time. There he comes. So he's going to go into storage. And then you can see him running back and forth. And now the silage area is filling up. So the reason why that's really good for us is if we come into and click on there, now you can see the silage is starting to be created, and very quickly, in fact. But the ratio here is 10-to-1. So we're going to end up with, I believe we purchased 400 kilograms of grass, so we're going to end up with 4,000 units of silage. All right, so now we've got silage production going. Now we can come in and get our animals. Let's go ahead and get all 6 of those. Okay, so they will be delivered here shortly, and they will show up in the field. Now, under allowed food, obviously we've got silage. There's also grass and multiple other things. So the better variety of food they have, the happier they will be, and the more this meter will fill up. For now, we're just going strictly for silage, and then we'll get into other types of food a little bit later on. But for now, I think that's going to do it. We're going to actually speed up time a little bit and see if we can't get our cows to hurry up and be delivered. And then, of course, they will start filling up the manure storage, and we'll get into some other things like the greenhouses in our next video. Yeah, there we go. You can see the screen getting darker, and that is because it is about to rain. So now we got our first taste of rain in the game and what it looks like on screen. Oh, there is our honey. So we got 71 units there. So when we come back next time, I'll show you how we not only sell that, but set up a situation where it will automatically be sold twice a month each time it is created. So thank you very much for joining me, and stay tuned as we continue our gameplay of Farm Manager 2018.